Met Police have apologised twice after an officer said an anti-Semitism charity leader looked openly Jewish as he was threatened with arrest for being near a pro-Palestine march. Gideon Falter, who is the chief executive of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, was wearing a kippah skull cap when he was stopped in central London. He was told by police his presence was causing a breach of the peace. In a video posted online, here is the offending clip.
You are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to your presence. You choose to remain here because you are causing a breach of peace.
If I remain here, you are arrested.
Because your presence is antagonising a large group of people, and we can't deal with all of that.
So this police officer has said that he looks openly Jewish. What is openly Jewish? And he wouldn't let him cross a central London street in his own town. Now, let me tell you that the police have apologised, but it didn't go well because their botched apology was withdrawn on the grounds that it was victim blaming. So a second statement from the Met Police said that being Jewish is not a provocation, and the Met apologised for any offence caused. Moments ago, Gideon Falter called for the Met Police Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley to resign. Take a listen.
The time has come for Sir Mark Rowley to go. He must resign as Commissioner for the Metropolis, or he must be removed by the Mayor of London and the Home Secretary. 69% of British Jews now obscure or hide their Jewish identity when in public. We need a new commissioner who will enforce the law, who will stand up for law-abiding Londoners, who will take action against lawless mobs. And we need that commissioner now.
Well, I'll be tackling this scandal in my take at 10. You won't want to miss it. But right now, let's speak to a very good friend of the show, journalist and best-selling biographer Tom Bauer, a man whose own parents were Jewish refugees. Tom, do you agree with Gideon Falter that Sir Mark Rowley should resign?
Well, I don't think it would help, and don't think it would actually solve the problem. I mean, when Dame Casey said that the Met was institutionally racist, she meant against black people or against Muslims. She didn't realize that they were institutionally racist against Jews. And I think by now we can see, since the October 7th massacres in Israel, that the British police, and especially the Met, don't understand what, in fact, they are creating. That is the terrible problem, and just removing Rowley will make no difference at all. The real problem must be in the Home Office, and it's got to be with the Mayor of London. We just do not know what orders the Met Chief has been given by these two bodies to behave in the way they've done since October, when quite clearly every week in London, the anti-Semites have had a field day. And the anti-Semites every week are protected by the police to spew their hatred, and it's the Jews who are the victims, the targets, who are always the ones being criticized. It's an astonishing situation to be in 70, 80 years after the Holocaust.
Well, Tom, some march in peace, some do not. Some support Hamas, some do not. But by accommodating these controversial demonstrations, does Britain risk succumbing to mob rule? And what might that look like?
Well, you see, I think where you make a mistake, Mark, is saying that some people march in peace. If you were against unemployment in Germany before Hitler came to power and marched with the Nazis against unemployment, you would be dubbed a Nazi supporter. These protests every week are organized by Hamas supporters. If you join a Hamas march, you are supporting Hamas. And I don't believe for a moment that the people marching every week in London, allegedly for Palestine, are anything other than supporters of the terrorist murdering organization Hamas.
You can't say that, Tom. You can't say that about all of the people on these marches, surely.
By now you can, because, you know, every week it gets worse and worse. Every week becomes more and more anti-Semitic, more and more about the destruction of Israel. This is what it's all about. If you chant from the river to the sea, it's no different than shouting Heil Hitler. You want to kill all the Jews in Israel. 8 million be pushed into the sea. That is what Iran wants. That is what Hamas blatantly wants. They openly say it. So anyone who joins the marches now knows very well it is an anti-Semitic march, and the horror is that the London police are protecting these marchers, and they've been told again and again and again that they are protecting racists and supporters of murder.
However, Tom, what would you say to those who are critical of Israel's actions in Gaza? Over 30,000 reported deaths, including women and children.
Well, you know, what is remarkable about that figure is it's a Hamas figure. Have you seen a burial ground in Gaza for 30,000 people? Have you seen one funeral in Gaza, let alone for 30,000? And isn't it extraordinary how Israel has perfected a bomb that only kills women and children? Not a single member of the Hamas, not a single man is ever shown dead. And even now in the BBC and Sky TV have their reporters reporting allegedly from Gaza. They're all using Hamas propaganda. All they use is Hamas-cultivated footage to show a screaming woman and an injured child, but never a Hamas fighter. The Hamas people who murder and torture and rape Israelis and want to destroy Israel. So I think you really got to stop this 30,000 figure. And worst of all is, as I saw a Tory MP the other day say on TV, 30,000 innocents. Well, they're not 30,000 innocents. Amongst the people are at least 10,000 Hamas fighters. And they deliberately use women and children as shields. They deliberately put themselves amongst civilians so that they can be protected. Now, one thing which is never shown on BBC or Sky is a Palestinian in Gaza being asked, do you support Hamas? Are you pleased with what Hamas has now done to your territory and your homes and your schools and everything? And that is where this whole thing is so unbalanced. And that's where the police, in my view, the second problem is these police officers are fed an unrestricted, appalling diet of anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism on the news waves, and no wonder they think that Jews are to blame for everything, and not Hamas that started all this, or let alone Iran that is financing and arming Hamas every day this war continues.
Well, it's clear that Hamas want civilians to die. I think that death toll is on their watch. As you said, they've weaponized women and children as human shields, and they've built their headquarters in the basement of hospitals. I don't disagree with you. They've also stored weapons in hospitals as well. But, Tom, why have the political left been so keen to demonize Israel and condemn their action in Gaza in the aftermath of October the 7th? Why are the left, or some on the left, taking this position?
Well, it all starts with Jeremy Corbyn in 2001. I wrote his biography, of course. And at that time, the far left, in an attempt to unseat the moderate left in the Labour Party and target capitalism, aligned themselves with the Palestinian struggle. It's a complicated reasoning, which I won't go into here, but they do it because they're against capitalism. And they've seized on the Palestinians as their vehicle to undermine the West, to undermine our society. And it's very easy because it's a 2,000, 3,000 year habit of being anti-Semitic. And so it was easy for them, and it's proven to be, unfortunately, very successful for them, that their alliance with the Palestinians, and of course with Iran and the extreme Islamic movement, has actually resulted in the destabilization of the West. And in that, they've been very successful. They're out for world domination. They want to remove capitalism and the liberal society. And the Palestinians, through the Muslim Brotherhood and all their affiliates, share that view. They want to create the caliphate state.
Indeed so. I understand that Sir Mark Rowley, the Met Police chief, has responded to what has happened in the last 24 hours. And of course, it has been a hugely controversial story. He has said every member of the Met is determined to ensure that London is a city in which everyone feels safe. We absolutely understand how vulnerable Jewish and Muslim Londoners feel since the terrorist attacks on Israel. Some of our actions have increased this concern. Our officers will continue to police with courage, empathy and impartiality. Well, I'll allow you, my viewers and listeners at home, to make a judgment on whether that has happened.